It's pretty wild when you think about it. We've gone from a simple quill scratching notes onto parchment to a composer actually collaborating with artificial intelligence. The way we make music has been completely turned on its head. So today, we're going to unpack that journey and really get into the art and science behind the music we all love.
So let's start with this question. How is a piece of music actually born? I mean, think about your favorite song. You know, that one melody that just gets stuck in your head, or that harmony that gives you chills every single time. Have you ever stopped to wonder, where did that come from? How does a tiny, fleeting idea in someone's head become this huge, fully formed piece of music that can move millions of people? Well, that's exactly the journey we're going on today. All right, so first things first. What even is musical composition? We hear that term thrown around all the time, right? But it's this massive creative process. We're going to break down the fundamentals of how you get from a simple idea to a finished piece of music.
Okay, so at its core, musical composition is really just the process of creating or writing a new piece of music. Simple enough, right? It could be vocal, it could be instrumental, and the person doing the creating, we call them a composer. But, and this is interesting, that title has a little bit of nuance to it that's definitely worth digging into. And that brings us to a distinction you've probably wondered about. What's the difference between a composer and a songwriter? I mean, they both make music, right? Well, yeah, but here's the general idea. A composer usually creates these big musical works, often instrumental stuff like symphonies or epic film scores. A songwriter, on the other hand, they're typically creating songs, which, have both music and lyrics. It's a subtle difference for sure, but a really important one. Okay, so to really get a grip on where we are today, we've got to jump in a time machine and look back at how it all started. Let's open up what I'm calling the classic composer's toolkit. We're talking about the age of pen, paper, and acoustic instruments, a time way before computers, before any recording studios, a time when every single note had to be imagined and then written down completely by hand. And check out this quote from way back in 1780. It absolutely nails it. It says, "Composition is all about the ordering and disposing of several sounds." Basically, it boils down to two key things. First, arranging sounds one after another to create something pleasing, what the ancients called melody. And second, combining different sounds at the same time, what we call harmony. And believe me, those two ideas, they've been the bedrock of music for centuries. So, if you were a composer back then, your whole world revolved around just a few things. You had your sheet music, your score, you had your acoustic instruments, strings, woodwinds, brass, and then you had this incredible, almost magical skill called orchestration. That's the art of deciding exactly which instrument plays which part to get the perfect sound. And the crazy thing is, the music didn't even really exist until it was performed by actual musicians reading that score. All right, now let's slam on the accelerator and fast forward a couple hundred years. That quiet little study with a piano and a quill, it's gone. In its place, we have the modern digital studio, where technology completely transforms sound. I'm telling you, technology has revolutionized the composer's toolkit, giving them superpowers that the old masters couldn't even have dreamed of. I mean, the shift is just staggering. We've gone from painstakingly handwriting scores to using something called a digital audio workstation, or a DAW. We've gone from needing an entire live orchestra to having thousands of virtual instruments in a computer. And forget mailing scores, now you can collaborate with someone on the other side of the planet, instantly. Let's zoom in on a couple of these, because they are absolute game changers. Okay, so the DAW. You can think of it as the central nervous system of all modern music. It's the composer's new canvas. We're talking about software like Ableton Live, Logic Pro, FL Studio. They do everything. You can record, edit, arrange, and mix all in one program. It's like having your sheet music, a multi-million-dollar recording studio, and an editing suite all crammed into your laptop. This has made the whole creative process so much faster and way more flexible than ever before. And then you've got virtual instruments and plugins. Just try to imagine this. An entire orchestra sitting inside your computer, or literally any sound you can possibly dream up, right there at your fingertips. That's what things like sample libraries from places like Kontakt or Spitfire Audio give you. A composer can now write for a massive string section or a super rare grand piano without ever needing the real thing. The sonic possibilities are, well, they're pretty much infinite. So yeah, DAWs and virtual instruments, huge game changers for sure. But the next tool, oh man. The next tool we're going to talk about isn't just another step forward. It's not an evolution. It's a full-blown revolution, and it's changing the very definition of what it means to be creative.
That's right. We're talking about composing with artificial intelligence. Welcome to the rise of the creative machine. This is the point where technology stops being just a simple tool and starts becoming a creative partner. We now have machines that can analyze music, learn from it, and even generate brand new music from scratch. So, how on earth does that work? So, how does an AI actually compose music? Well, it's a pretty cool three-step process. First, the AI models analyze these enormous libraries of existing music. I mean, just tons of it. It learns all the patterns, the rules of melody, harmony, rhythm. Then, step two, it can act as an amazing source of inspiration. It can suggest new melodies, new harmonies, new chord progressions to a human composer. And finally, step three, it can actually generate entire musical passages or even complete compositions, all by itself. And this isn't science fiction, you know? AI tools like Ava, Ampere Music, and even OpenAI's MuseNet are already being used in studios today. But here's the key thing to remember. Their role right now is as a creative partner. It's about inspiration. Let's say you're a musician and you're just totally stuck. You've got writer's block. The AI can spit out dozens of unique chord progressions in seconds. It's an unbelievably powerful way to smash through those creative walls and find ideas you probably never would have thought of on your own. So, this absolute explosion of new tech, especially AI, brings us to a really fascinating and honestly, a really crucial question. What is the future of creativity? What does all this mean for the future of music, for the role of the human artist? It's all about finding that human-machine balance. And here it is, the big question that's on everybody's mind. Are we losing the human touch? With all these powerful digital tools and creative AI, is there a risk that music is just going to become, I don't know, sterile? That it's going to lose its soul? This is without a doubt the central debate raging in the world of music composition right now. And this really highlights the modern composer's challenge. It's a mix of real-world problems and these bigger philosophical questions. On one hand, you've got practical things, like the insane cost of some of this software and the super steep learning curve to actually use it. But then you have these deeper issues, like the authenticity debate. How do you balance AI and your own originality? In a world where you can make everything digitally perfect, what does it even mean for music to be authentic anymore? These are the tough questions composers are wrestling with every day. But here is the thing. The general feeling, the consensus that's starting to emerge from all this, is that the goal is not replacement, but collaboration. It's about balancing this incredibly powerful technology with that uniquely human artistic intuition. The future of music really seems to be in that partnership, where a composer's vision gets amplified by the almost limitless power of technology. So, when you look at the whole journey, as the tools have evolved from a simple quill all the way to a complex algorithm, one thing hasn't changed: that fundamental human need to create music. That's still there. Which leaves us with one final massive question. With this incredible new fusion of human artistry and machine intelligence, what does the future of music even sound like?